What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Russell Journal. My name is Russell. This is my journal entry for Monday, February 27th, 2023. All right. Pretty interesting day in the market. I'm going to make this quick. I didn't really sleep last night, and so I am getting really tired. And on top of that, I want these videos to be a lot faster. Quick, if you're new here, first of all, I'm not a financial teacher. I'm not a trading guru or furu or any of that. These reports exist for the purpose of having a record of my trading. It is literally my report on that. It's like just treat. I'm a student, and this is a book report on what happened in the market today and how I performed around that. Okay. So that is it. And if you are watching this, feel free to grade the book report A through F, whatever you want. Make up some numbers and stuff like that, and tell me what you think. That's one of the dreams of this is peer review, and that people would look at this and say, okay, well, this is what he's doing, and this is what's good, and this is what's bad. So things of that nature. Okay, got to build a little bit off of yesterday's chart. Yesterday's conversation around this chart, and it was pretty interesting. So, if you are familiar with my setup, essentially, let me get rid of all these lines. None of those lines really actually matter. I only really care about the 50% retracement. That's the reason I have them. Okay, so if you're looking at SPY, you can see we're slightly up today. It was an interesting thing, especially given the show I did yesterday. And basically, what I said yesterday is wake up in the morning, we get some type of gap up situation, and on a daily time frame, that could take your slow stochastic, move it out of overbought. Okay. So basically, what we needed this to do is go above 400 and stay above 400. And you see, it almost actually got out of there. The way I was looking at this was that the way I'm looking at this based on my setup. So the daily kind of dictates what I do on the other chart time frames. Okay. So on the daily, you are embedded now in oversold. Okay. So at this point, the way I think about when I approach a market, it goes like this. My very first thing I want to ask myself is, am I trading today? Okay. That's the very first question. If the answer to that question is yes, and I'll do a whole bunch of reasons to like why I say no, I don't trade. But if the answer is yes, the next question for me is always, am I trading trend or counter trend? Okay. Now, a lot of people approach this market and they'll go, am I looking am I long biased or am I short biased? But it helps me to really think about this in terms of trend versus counter trend as to whether I'm long bias or short bias. Okay. Now, if you're oversold, I'm counter trend, right? If the slow stochastic is oversold, uh, you know, I'm typically trading counter trend, and the reason that is because you don't have your momentum is reaching the bottom. You're hitting the lower Bollinger Bands. You're hitting lower price targets, things of that nature. Chances are more than likely that you're going to get some type of short covering in some places or things like that. The time that changes, especially here, is that if the slow stochastic here spends more than 3 days below oversold, okay, and that switches for me is it turns me from being a counter trend trader into a trend trader. That means that we have momentum is embedded. We can start to look for lower prices, okay, and that's kind of how I trade with it now. Once it's embedded, there's a way that you actually do this, and I can't tell you how to do that because that's kind of a proprietary piece of information that I got from a guy named Ira Epstein. And so, if you want, go take his class. I can't tell you that part. Well, I won't. I probably could, and it probably wouldn't even be that unethical. But I do have a certain sense of reverence for the man, so I'm not going to take I'm not going to take the butter off his bread, you know? So anyway, so we wake up this morning and essentially we're not gapped out, right? And like I said yesterday, you've got your first hour. It's very interesting because and in the first hour that your momentum line actually broke a little bit. It got into 79 before it pulled back under. And like I said, you've got kind of your first hour of trading. But I was kind of the one thing I looked at over here that it was kind of cool, gave me sort of an indication that I wanted to be short biased. Was getting in here. You're into the 4 hour time frame. You were not out of oversold on the 4 hour. So if you didn't get it on the 4 hour, you're obviously not going to get it on the. Oh, and by the way, when I'm trading the session, I trade with extended hours off. Whatever happened in the pre-market, aside from I want that to be sort of pure. So it is a bit of a hybrid sort of situation here where I think Ira trades all 24, 23 hours, but he's also trading futures. So 23, 6 or whatever it is, 6 days a week, all that is on here. And he sees each session like that. When you trade specifically options and weekly, right, very short expiration contracts, which I trade 0 DTE or 0 date to expiration or same day, they expire the same day. Whatever happened in those hours before doesn't really affect this. This is just this session. So what's happening on this session doesn't affect the indicators as far as that goes. Okay. And that's part of the reason why, and from what, if you look at things like gap filling or, some of those things that they talk about and stuff like that, this is why, if you go read Peter Resnick's The Gap Rules, and it's literally 5 slides. You can go to my Instagram. I have the gap rules there. Shadowtrader.net has the gap rules there. There's a set of rules for how stocks perform around gaps, and specifically related to short-term options contracts. Okay, so the thing is we woke up this morning. You've got the gap up, and I'm immediately, because this embedded, I'm immediately focused on fading the gap, right? And so, but essentially what happens is, and you do actually come back and wind up sort of filling this gap. Let's go into a shorter time frame. I can show you more along the lines of what actually happened for me today. And this is pretty simple. So we come in the morning, we're up above 400, and I don't normally trade the first hour, but when we didn't break that and that candle went red there, I shorted right there. I bought puts, 397s. I paid 50 cents a piece for them. But I played with my usual stop, right? And I actually pulled it tighter. Normally my first trade is a 20%. It's 20% of my premium, whatever that is. And I actually moved it up to where I was only I was out. I was in this at 50 cents. I ended up being out at about 41. So it's only a 9-cent risk on that. So it puts me down $90. I do miss this pop into this. I really don't think you got any support into that. And I was pretty cool to have this come down, builds up. It breaks that swing low right there. And that's when I get short again. That gave me, and that, to be honest, is the first hour and a half, 2 hours of trading. From here down to here, this gives me $140 win. So it puts me up about $40 by the time I'm done with that. Looking for this to make some moves back, see if you can preemptively move some stuff. Where I got to with it was go to the 4-hour time frame. And what I'm looking for here, I was looking for on the 4-hour time frame. This closed above here, and I tried to front run a move out of oversold on the 4 hour on like the last so the 4 hour turns over at about 10:30 here. You get 2 4 hour candles a day. So at 10:30, you usually get the new candle. So I tried to front run this to see if you'd get a bounce off of that, a real bounce. Right here, you're holding this real kind of crazy support right here off of this 200 period moving average on the 4 hour. So I thought we'd see if we get a bounce off of that. We did get a bounce, especially as it got pretty close. It got down to the gap filled at 397.3. That would have closed our gap for the day completely on the 1 minute. And according to the gap rules, by the way, a gap is filled when, so we gapped up, right? So the gap gets filled according to Peter Resnick's gap rules when the current day touches the high of the previous day. So we got down to 3. The high of Friday was about 397.30. Coming into that would have been kind of where we get to fill the gap. And, from earlier today, we got around 397.60. So you're within 30 cents of filling that gap. I still don't even know if it did. I gave up. I caught the bounce, but I went way out the money. I took the 402 calls back in here, trying to preempt. Oh, this is a 4 hour, so you can't even see it. We'll go back here to the 5 minute. So I was looking for this move right here. Let's see, I was in here. So I was looking to come out right here, right there. Took the 402 calls, tried to ride this up, and was really interesting because the call premium told me before the move here that it wasn't going to work, that this is going to fail, right? That you're going to get to 399. So I'm in the 402s. I'm in them at 5 cents a piece. Get the move up. We hit 7 cents. And if you know anything about the spread on options, then you'll know that, I think I'm up 7 cents. I'm in at 5 cents. The ask goes to 7. The bid gets to 6. It pulls back to 5. Spread goes to 5.4. And this sort of move kind of happens. I go, oh, well, that isn't actually going to do that. Went ahead, cut the trade. It didn't catch the move. And it did sort of signal to me right before this whole downward trajectory thing happened. So overall, I kind of just played it with a tight stop on that 1 cent. So it was, I had 20 contracts. So it cost me basically $20. In the end of the day, I close out the day with my stops at a small gain of $15, right? So I'm stopped out profitable. Not a great day. Really only one actual viable trade worked out for me. I did really respect my setup other than that first trade I took, which could have been a lot better, I guess, if I hadn't taken that trade in the first open of the hour, or the first hour of open. I took that within the first 15 minutes of trading. Again, still, even with that trade, I respected my stop. 90% of that was good. The only thing is I usually try not to trade the first hour. The one thing about it was the premium on that was a fair premium. So it was really, it was not ridiculous as far as the premiums. And that's really why I don't trade those first hours, is because typically the premiums are a wreck. So that was actually not a bad premium. To pay 50 cents a share is not tough for me as far as my account goes. So that's really nice. So that's kind of how it went. Overall, like I said, the general rule is don't trade the first hour because premiums are usually a wreck then. That's why I don't usually do it. So they were 50 cents. So it wasn't really that bad. Anyway, and then when I did buy those puts back again, though, it was kind of funny because I bought them back at when I got into them, I got back into them at like 27 cents. So it was when it got that big boost up. Or no, I didn't. It was 40 something cents. Anyway, it doesn't matter right now. I'm really tired because, like I said, I really haven't slept. So part of it is like my sleep schedule has been kind of messed up from the weekend and some other stuff that's been going on. So that's I really just want to go to sleep right now. And so that's kind of where I am with that. Anyway, I have nothing looking forward here. It appears that you kind of got to get above 400 for any price action movement to the upside. And we'll see. Again, tomorrow's going to be about the same thing. Is that 4 hour? If that 4 hour comes out of overbought, I mean, you're embedded now, so you're really looking to the short side based on my setup. If you trade Iris setup, you've got that embedded reading on there, so you will be looking to the short side of that. Any bounces there to sell into, especially now that you've closed below that. The one thing that can sort of upset that is we'll see what the futures do overnight, but basically assuming that thing is below 20 tomorrow, we're definitely on both the 4 hour and the daily. We are trading in the direction of the trend. It sucks because it would have been a really awesome. That would have been some really nice money. Like if the daily had come out and we'd done the run to 407, that would be great. One thing too, I want to talk about this is the Bulls could have done it, right? There was buying pressure through this whole thing. And one of the things I titled the show Too Little Too Late is that it's like, the Bulls, they had the chance to do this. They could have taken back this chart at any point during the day, and they didn't. They're playing, and it always drives me bananas when they play this weird game of pressures where the Bulls, the price action does this sort of thing. And I've heard of it described as like distribution and some other stuff. Hold on, I want to look. I want to make sure nobody's chatting in the chat. See if there's anybody in the chat. Okay, there's nobody in the chat. All right, that's fine. So I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to call it a day because I'm tired. So there's this sort of distribution, sort of price action that happens where there's two sides of it. Either A, it's bullish, but it's bullish from the bottom side, where the Bulls really are buying into every pullback, every drop, right? The other times that's kind of weird is it does seem as though basically it's not even the Bulls that are causing that to happen. You have shorts that are trying to come out without putting the price up on themselves. So there is this weird sort of thing where this like kind of underneath this, the thing has all this buying pressure. And even if your short is a short, even if you're it's telling you go in the other direction, the price action really stops those moves that you need from happening to happen. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. We'll see if the bottom drops out of this or not. It should, hopefully it'll be a nice big, I don't care. I really don't like, hopefully it's a good move one direction or the other and we're able to catch it. Like I said, the 4 hour and the are going to dictate that we remain short biased as long as they're below 20. You are flirting with losing it a little bit here. So, I mean, if we wake up tomorrow and that's out, you got a shot. You do have a shot. But if you wake up tomorrow and it's still down there, you're really, and that's something I will do is really wait for the first hour to end before, because that'll tell me this, you can move. You don't have to get a new candle to move the slow stochastic out on those two larger time frames, on the 4 hour and the daily. That first hour, it can adjust a bit with inside of there. You're not in the first hour going to go from like oversold to overbought in one candle. That's not probably going to happen. If it does, something's fucked up. You weren't going to get that anyway. But so. Anyway, like I said, 3 trades today, stopped out green, respected my setup, respected my stop loss, really respected my stop loss, kept them tight, and was pretty happy with the whole situation. So Russell Journals, written, edited, hosted by me, Russel Liz, produced by Social Media Shows. Executive producer is Maria Pereza. And until tomorrow, let's just pretend I said some sort of catchphrase.
This show is brought to you by Michelle Kubiak with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, call Michelle at 702-683-6576. Her license number is S.48606. This show is also brought to you by Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa, located on Silverado Ranch, here in Henderson, Nevada. Restore, relax, and refresh. Let's not forget our very own Meryl and Merrick comedy show. This fun, comical TV sitcom duo with Social Media Shows Network loves to make you laugh. Mahel Empire Productions. It's a filmmaker based in Las Vegas, Nevada. Founded by Michael and Sonny Mahal, and are dedicated to making feature films. Turn your power on with Broken Bulb Productions. Owned by Russell Rapp, an independent filmmaker based out of New Jersey. This show is brought to you by, let's not forget, our very own GI Connections. It's a non-profit organization that connects veterans with resources. We're also proud to recognize Prolific Arts with Sonia Scott. Painting is the expression of emotion and feeling deep within one's heart. Let's not forget Makoma Environmental Technologies. Global research, development, and manufacturing of innovative photocatalytic products. Our show is also brought to you by Carmelo Rodriguez, who is the author of a best-selling book called Smile. It's based on true events. It's the story of a couple building a family. Get your copy of his book at Amazon today. We also love our musicians. Think about Frank's Tribute, an all-star band. It's a Green Bay-based band with Let Me Be Frank's Productions, family owned by Frank Hermans, who happens to be a veteran entertainer.